Everyone. This is Miss Hancock, and I was just going to tell you real quick about this slide. We're going to start talking about punctuating titles, and there's a couple ways you can think about this. One, you could think about split titles, works into two categories. One would be like a whole pizza. That's like a whole piece of work, like a whole book, a whole magazine or newspaper, a whole TV show, a whole anthology, which is a series of books, a whole album, a whole albums are a collection of songs, by the way, whole movies, whole plays, whole artworks, whole ships, trains, aircrafts. And the other category would be parts of works, like part of a book is chapters, part of a magazine or newspaper would be articles, part of TV shows, whole series of TV shows would be specific episodes. Whole parts of a series of stories would be, each individual story. Poems, songs, reports, essays. Those are smaller pieces of work. So, the reason why we would split these titles into two categories is to understand how to punctuate them. So, whole pieces of work you would underline or italicize. So, if you were writing in a pen or pencil, you would underline whole pieces of work. If you were typing on a computer, you would italicize the title. And I'll talk more about that in a second. However, if it's just a part of a piece of work or a small piece of work like a poem or a song, you would put quotation marks around the title. Now, let's talk a little bit more about italicized because, of course, here you are on a computer, so you are typing. So you would need to italicize instead of underline a whole piece of work. So over here, it says, how should you write the title of the book, Put Me in the Zoo? Well, we do know from capitalization rules that we need to capitalize the first and the last word and all of the major words in between. So I do know that if I were going to type that title, I would need to type Put Me. I would not have to capitalize in or the, but I would have to capitalize zoo. All right, now I need to go even farther because now I need to italicize it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight it with my mouse, and then I'm going to click this button right up here, italic. And then, as you see, what it does is it kind of leans it to the side, and that's what we call italicizing. So just so that you can see that again, if it is a whole piece of work, what you would do is you would type the title using our capitalization rules. You have to capitalize the first word and the last word and all the major words in between. Let me make sure I have my spacing correct. And then after I was done, to italicize it, because that's what it says if you're using a computer, you italicize the title. So I'm going to highlight it with my mouse, and I'm going to push this funny looking leaned over I, and that's going to italicize it. So now the answer to that question is correct. Now, the second question says, how should you write the title of the song Roar by Katy Perry? Well, that's a part of a work. It's a small piece of work. It's a song. So all I would really have to do is type, and I want to capitalize it, roar. But what it says for me to do is on short pieces of work or pieces of work, I would put quotation marks. So I'm just going to hit the shift and the quotation mark button before the title and shift and the quotation mark button after the title. The last question here, and here I'm doing all of these questions, and if you make sure these answers are in there the way I'm asking you to put them in there, you'll get 24 points, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So make sure that you're watching and listening. Last question says, how should you write the title of the poem Dreams by Langston Hughes? Okay, so I would definitely need to capitalize dreams. And that is a short piece of work. So I would use quotation marks. So again, I'm going to push Shift, and the quotation marks are on the right side of your keyboard. They're next to the Enter button. And then behind it, again, I would put Shift, push Shift, and the quotation key that is right next to the Enter key on the right side of your keyboard. And now all of those titles are punctuated correctly. Thank you.